Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage. Funny, I'm your host, Harvey Freed, alongside of me, Becky Alley.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I want you to know I'm sitting in the world's lowest chair.
You are back. That's okay. You got lots of credentials other than that today. Good morning, everyone. We got a great show lined up for you today. We bring in special guests, Lisa LaRue, eXp Realty, of course. Hey, Lisa, you've been on before. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here.
And you look fantastic as always. Don't tell Bob outside. He gave me the. I don't know you brought your boyfriend in and what was going on there. I'll keep my hands to myself. Corey Welch, good to see you, Corey. eXp Monroe Township. Great to see you, Corey.
Yes, thanks for having me on. First time on 97 won the ticket. But
Yay.
I listen all the time. Glad to be here.
I've been following your career a little bit, Corey, just because I know you took this eXp thing and then you opened up your own office down river. I'm excited for you. And eXp, of course, you guys bring a lot of energy. It's really a new concept over the last 7 or so years where eXp's just been exploding all over Metro Detroit.
Yeah, EXP, I remember when it came first, you hear about it, right? And then just to see the platform and the biggest thing I feel is best is for the new agents entering the market is the training that you guys get, right? And we're talking, so for our listeners, we have 2 very high producing agents in the studio with us right now. Corey's so big, Michigan can even hold him down. He had expanded himself over to Ohio too, right? So Lisa's been in the business for an extremely long time. 30 years?
19.
19. Okay, I thought it was a little bit longer than that. I'm aging you a little bit.
19, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so we're about the same.
30 years experience.
Either way, we'll go with that collectively. But, I want people to hear what they have to say because, you're talking from advantages from the listing side, buying side. It is everything real estate that they're going to be able to help you out with it today.
And that's what we were talking about was the training that we are giving to our new agents. Corey and I both find it a huge responsibility for us to send out those great agents out to the public. Unfortunately, we see a lot of agents that aren't holding their weight and aren't learning what they're supposed to be doing in this market. And they're not going to make it. So the training
You're preaching over here to Mr. Harvey Freed right here, man.
Just like a lot of careers out there, you don't have a residency in real estate. So it is. Once you get your license, you're able to jump in a real estate office and sign up people on purchase agreements and stuff. And again, it's not that the experienced people, just because you've been around 20 years, Becky, we've met a whole bunch of lumps on the log where they've been around a long time and they're not keeping up. We have to constantly educate ourselves, especially in today's competitive market.
Yeah, you're not only, I empathize with the buyers, right? The buyers right now in this market are really getting it handed to them. And for the individuals that got out of the market last year because they thought it was too competitive, well, guess what? You stepped into a bigger bomb because now the same house is $25,000 to $50,000 more, depending on how what the area is. And then you're also coupling that with the non-surprise increase in rates. We knew that was going to happen. So someone that was like, oh, I don't want to do this right now, I'm going to try next year. Well, now you're looking at a payment that's $200 more, right? So it's not just buyer fatigue out there, it's financial fatigue that they're experiencing.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Lisa. I was going to let you go.
Oh, I was just going to say that the buyers are really going through a lot with that buyer fatigue right now and multiple offers. And it's really important to keep them engaged and keep them, kind of their spirits up right now because it can get really frustrating. So the conversations that we're having are constant and daily with them. Have to stay in touch with them, keep them up because they will find their house. They will find the right house. It's just maybe going to take a little bit longer.
I'm actually, this is a cool show because earlier this week, so I'm working out with a lady, Donna, my friend Donna, and she said that her grandson was out there looking for homes in the Monroe area. And, of course, after 8 bids, they're getting overbid. Starter homes go quick. Then you're competing against investors and cash offers and everyone out there in the world who wants to buy a house and get in today's marketplace as rents continue to go up, Becky Alley. And of course, Corey, sure enough, he ends up buying a house in Toledo. So, just over the border, hey, if you're dealing with a Ohio licensed realtor like yourself, Corey, there was an opportunity there for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have people go back and forth all the time, which is why I originally had gotten my Ohio license. My mom's from Toledo, my dad's from Monroe. So friends and family were moving back and forth. But there is opportunity in both states. And with, the border being so close, it presents an opportunity if you can't find a house in one state, but, you can move right across the border. With starter homes, I think that's a great point. You do have cash investors in general getting into the market. But I like what Lisa said. If you're a serious buyer and you want to buy a house in this market, you just need a really good lender and a really good realtor, and we can definitely get you into the home that you want. But you have to be patient, and you have to be ready, and you have to listen to your agent.
Yeah, I feel like right now more so it's like the coupling of creative, like when you're writing an offer, you have to be extremely creative and aggressive when you're going to write this offer. But more so too, it's also on the lending side, finding that creativity for affordability for these buyers too, because the same buyer that was pre-approved at a $200,000 house in November is now probably going to be around a 180 house, depending on what that payment's going to be like, because if they haven't found it. So who you work with matters. We preach that all the time. And if your lender, if you were pre-approved in November and the max that you could do, you need to speak to your lender again and get reevaluated, because that same pre-approval it could be putting you a little bit out of that price point if you haven't been readjusted because of these rates.
Yeah, each eighth on $100,000 is $8 on a 30-year amortization. So I was doing some math last night even. So it's about, on $100,000, if the rate went up 1 full percent for your payment went up about $64 and so on. So if it was a $200,000 house, so now it's another $125 out of pocket each month. Yeah, it did knock out some of the buyers. Stronger buyers are going to rise up.
Right.
I don't know. That's sort of a cool thing that it took away some of that competition out there, and the stronger buyers definitely have an opportunity to rise up and get their offer accepted. We'll talk about that all morning long. Some creative ways to get into a house. It takes the funds to close. We'll do some fundamental stuff. You must have the funds to close. Becky, we'll talk a little bit about those minimum down programs, because so many of the people that are coming to us do have some heavy debts out there, usually the student loans that we continuously see.
Well, I mean, the nation in general, we've been through a rough 2 years. Everybody has, right? You had people that were being furloughed in 2020, 2021. They were on and off work a little bit as well. So then you have now a lot of credit card debt. You have a lot of things that they maybe weren't forcing or seeing before. And then now this coming May, you have all these student loans. They're no longer going to be furloughed or, in deferment. So you're going to have all these things that are coming. All that government assistance is ending, right? So these buyers are really going to have to be really qualified. And more so than ever, you need to have a bona fide pre-approval. And I know from your guys' perspective, when you are on the listing side and you're looking at that pre-approval, and if that lender is not answering their phone, you're probably going to move on to the next one, I would imagine.
Absolutely, without question. The lender it's like one of the biggest parts of this process. And if you don't have a lender that's answering their phones or able to answer some quick questions for us, we're in big trouble. We could lose that house just like that. It's terrifying, really. So for me, there's a ton of questions. I call every single lender. I'll even sometimes intentionally call them at 5:00 or 6:00.
You're the one. I'm like,
I want to know.
Lisa LaRue might be calling me. I got to keep my phone on.
That's just the middle of the day for Becky and I don't know. It sounds regular. 248-539-9797. You guys said some great things there, of course, getting that team together. We talk about it here every Saturday morning, getting those tough conversations out there. That's, I think, the biggest hurdle I had when I met some agents recently is, what are they willing to say? Well, and then they also told me, hey, Harvey, I didn't like that lender. He didn't call me back. He might not have anything to say either. And that's one of the things we are really finding in our industry right now is it's going to weed out some of the newer agents that aren't really diving in and wanting to educate and wake up every morning. So I did a training thing on, I think it was Tuesday, and sure enough, I think like maybe 8 out of 14 people showed up. Why listen to me? I've only got 30 years to have mortgage talk about and stuff like that. But really having those tougher conversations and getting people organized, Corey, that is a big move, especially, Corey, take a look at that step up buyer. So they're selling that house you got them 3-4 years ago. You're gonna take that bundle of equity. Now they're $300,000 to $400,000. It's so competitive. You got to have a great plan together. It's all about that plan.
Yeah, you do. And a lot of times, sellers and buyers, they have frozen equity in their home. And so you have
that frozen equity.
Yeah, frozen equity, with market conditions, the house you bought 3 or 4 years ago, you have a lot of equity, and a lot of, sellers who are becoming buyers want to take advantage of that. But you have to have a plan. It's not the market where you can just say, okay, I want to buy a home and I'm going to sell, buy it contingent on my house selling. If the house has been on the market for several months, that's a possibility. But I don't know many houses that have been on the market for several months that aren't, in disrepair. which are really just, for investors, looking to maybe flip the home. So a lot of times right now, what sellers are doing is they're, listing their home contingent on finding their home of choice. So there are some creative solutions out there for sellers and buyers.
We'll dig right back into the reverse contingency. Other things you need to know if you're buying or selling a house. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our show. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 2289, Equal Housing Lender. It is March 19th. Tomorrow is spring? Are you kidding me? Home buying season's going to start again, Becky. Tomorrow it starts up again.
What? Did it even stop? I don't even understand.
Spring market.
Spring has sprung.
Hey,
Never left.
We got Corey Welch here, real estate team. Corey Welch, EXP Realty, Monroe Township. Lisa LaRue, she works at Grozeal. And you guys are anything in the southeast Michigan. And, of course, you guys will come up here, our neck of the woods, every now and then and sell a house. Nothing wrong with us up here. You guys will work with us, too, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we're good there.
Well, the thing with the like with EXP, it's like you guys you're like you don't compete with each other. Like you guys really, truly there are help to your clients are number one. And that's what's important. So like if you're unable to make it out to Royal Oak for a showing, you have someone that is literally on your team that can be there to make your buyer feel like that's all you do is them.
Absolutely. We are a one brokerage all non-competitive. So we collaborate with each other constantly. Corey's the broker in Monroe. I'm the broker in Grosse Ile. And we train our people together. It's just amazing the collaboration we have and the backup that we have, truly.
We talk about these teams' trust in estate planning and having a mortgage lender and then your real estate agent. This all sort of comes together. It's all about your financial literacy and what you want to learn, you know, as an individual. A young guy at the gym this morning, and I don't work out that much at all, but I was just there really to, you know, take care of some business. But anyways, he says, hey, Harvey, do you, invest in the stock market and everything? As a young guy. And I said, I play around. I'm no expert. I said, I hire an expert in that industry. And when I think people really come to us, they're looking for that. But they're clicking buttons. And what we're running into is a lot of pre-approved, unqualified buyers. And I'm getting some leads now, Becky, from some, different lead sources. And sure enough, the conversations are weird. I gave my services, I gave my heart and soul to a person the other day. They've been looking for 3 months. They're not even pre-approved. They're not even pre-approved. So I really said, look, guys, let's do it right now. I'm going to get you a pre-approval today. We're going to run your file and do all these things. I actually have called back. If I don't get a call back today, Becky, again, there's another person out there running around making offers who's not even pre-approved.
Who's letting them make offers? I'm confused.
They're a real estate agent from Roscommon.
Okay, well, that's probably why they're still looking 3 months later. I mean, yeah. So what we're trying to say to the listeners out there is the days of you looking for a house and then putting an offer are done, or, or getting pre-approved after the fact are done, right? It's almost like, I don't know, you look at abs and you want abs, but you don't have abs in because you're not working out. Like, I don't understand. Like, you
I love
can't
food too much.
You can't have hungry eyes and not be pre-approved when you're looking at these houses. You're also going to set yourself for failure because you are going to be looking at homes much longer than you need to. Because when you hire professionals, they can actually get you a house in 30 days. Sometimes less. It doesn't take you seeing 15 houses sometimes to get that accepted offer when you have the right people. And to your point about having non-pre-approved buyers, I have to speak on this. So there are a lot of lenders out there where if it takes them 5 minutes to pre-approve you, it's a problem, because there is no one that can truly pre-approve someone in 5 minutes, because you need income documents, you need verification. And if you know yourself, okay, and I'm not knocking on anyone, but if you know that you have student loans, COVID happened, all that stuff, and you have your student loans or any government loan that went into collections, and someone gave you an FHA pre-approval and didn't speak to any of those things, you need to reevaluate who you're working with. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding, and we're going to get you set up with the right people, because that pre-approval is invalid, and you need to have a plan of action in place to fix that. And the reason for that is I had a colleague of Lisa's reach out to me. She spent 3 months with buyers. They thought they were pre-approved. They were excited, looking at houses. They wanted to make an offer. And then the LO waited for the processor to catch something that they could have caught in the beginning, only to find out that the FHA pre-approval was null and void. And they said, I'm sorry, you just can't look for houses anymore.
And that's after 3 months of driving
after
around.
3 months.
And by the way, gas went up a little bit lately.
But we fixed it. I fixed it. I found a solution. But it took some creativity, but I found a solution for them, and they're now pre-approved. And it took me 2 weeks.
I like that. Looking to find a way into the housing market, give us a call. That's really where we're going with the show this morning here. Millennials or first-time home buyers. If you want to get into the marketplace, again, we're going to stress this. We're going to say it. Tell your family and friends if they're not really turning in their documents, putting that plan together, because it's too competitive. Let me throw it back to the agents here. Lisa LaRue, Corey Welch, 84% of the homes on the market have multiple offers. So, again, if you make the phone call to and no one returns the phone call, the lender, they don't sound like they're qualified. Not only that, the real estate agent can't go to bat for them too much because they haven't had those tough conversations. They're not getting that house.
Absolutely. And I had an offer. I had a listing with 19 offers on it.
Wow.
And when they're all pretty much the same,
they're the same. Every
single thing counts. How you write the offer counts. The lender that you use counts. The phone call from the agent counts. And you need to be very particular about the offer that you accept. You could sit there for 30 days and then find out, oh, wow, they really weren't approved after all. After we had 19 offers, you picked the wrong one.
Yeah.
You really have to be careful with that. So getting a great lender and a great team around you, it is imperative.
We talk about the bad stories all the time. That one hit, like whenever I do the show, again, after doing these shows, you just said what I wanted to hear is every little thing counts. It does, because
Devil's in the details.
Yeah, it really is. And again, if you don't have that person who's paying attention to those details, they're not having those conversations. So it's like this show. I'm like, I don't know who we're talking to anymore. I'm talking to that parent whose son or daughter or family members working with somebody who doesn't sound like they've got all the answers there. Just because it's so competitive out there. This is why our show has turned to this new angle about really, really making sure your team is together and that process is tight.
Because it's a problem that's happening. Like it's literally like it's an issue, and it's something that you guys more so, because we'll get this. Sometimes we're the second call in, and had we been the first call in, it wouldn't have been a problem at all. But I'll gladly be someone's second, third call. I'll be the last call, but I will get us to the finish line or tell you why we're not there. But the reason why we keep talking about it is because there's a lot of people running around really thinking they're going to buy this house, only to find out that someone didn't do their due diligence in the beginning, and it's going to be a domino effect right down to the finish line.
Hey, Corey, how about home ownership? You go ahead and tell us what you're going to tell us. Home ownership brings tremendous responsibility and tremendous wealth gains.
Yes. Real quick I like what Becky said. If it takes 5 minutes to get a pre-approval is probably null and void. So a lot of times, and we've all, bought homes. So we've been in that position. You go to get pre-approved and you want the letter today, right? You want to start house hunting right now, but it's okay if it takes a couple days or a week. Let that lender get you a true verified pre-approval letter so you can be competitive and actually buy a home. So it's better to wait and be educated and know where you're at versus just getting a letter and going out there and having your dreams crushed.
For sure. Okay, so to that point, sometimes buyers will get frustrated. Oh, well, I want to really make an offer on this house, and I'll be pulling. I'll underwrite a file like right off the bat and be like, listen, it's better for you to do the work now than 30 days later find out that your 1 year on your commission job is not going to be an exception that we can make, or the underwriter's willing to make because you have an unstable job history. I'm seeing flags here that the underwriter is going to see. So there's reasons why we're doing what we're doing. So don't be upset if someone's taking a couple more days. As long as they're communicating with you and they're telling you, that is going to be the difference of when I give them to Corey or Lisa, we know that we're good to go, and I'll talk to everybody and anybody whenever. And so will Harvey.
Corey, I threw that at you too. If you or Lisa want to jive in there.
Oh.
I mean, we always talk about the weird stuff here and getting
I
people
love
at the
this
table.
one, Harvey.
We do the bad stuff, the bad. Here's the good stuff.
Yeah.
You create a lot of wealth becoming a homeowner. Easy for me to say. From 2010 to 20, I mean, just a tremendous amount of gain. If you have some home ownership out there, even if you bought 2 years ago, you probably now have about 20% additional equity in your house. So just if you guys want to talk about all the fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, home ownership and helping people achieve that American dream of owning a home is the reason why I became a realtor. I bought my very first home many years ago when I was 21 years old. I'm in my third home now.
Oh, great.
So I have moved in that time. But I love helping people achieve that dream. And I know Lisa has a lot of stories as well, but a lot of buyers I've helped achieve that were buyers who thought they would never own a home. Whether it was because they didn't have enough money down, credit, repair, whatever it might be. And as long as you have a good agent and a good lender that's willing to work with you, home ownership is always possible, as long as you're willing to put in the work. And that's why I love what I do, is helping people achieve that dream, which does end up with wealth.
Becky, you got USDA loans down there in Monroe, in the whole Monroe area. I mean, you can almost buy a house. Everyone out there can almost buy a house zero down using a USDA loan. We specialize in them at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, of course, Capital Mortgage, locally here. We can get you a USDA loan with zero down. You need a little bit of money. You got to have closing costs and prepaids. You get a great real estate agent. Sometimes they could even negotiate some costs. So that's a great opportunity. 3% down conventional loans. It doesn't take a whole lot of money, guys, to buy a house.
Yeah, the fallacy that people think that you have to have 20% down, that's not accurate. If you want to put 20% down, YOLO, good for you. But you don't have to do that. Because right now you might need that extra money in the bank to put up money for an appraisal guarantee because these offers are competitive. So, USDA, it's zero down. That's not zero out of pocket. That's the property has to qualify. You have to qualify as an individual. So there's caveats that go with that, but we will run the numbers. If you're like, hey, I'm thinking about this. Well, we run through every single salary program. There's also home buyer programs, MIJDA, where you get down payment assistance. I feel like right now more so than ever, because everyone's been through the ringer the last couple of years, these specialty programs that we offer at Capital Mortgage Funding make all the difference sometimes. And to Corey's point, it is a privilege, in my opinion, to literally be a part of someone's life event. They're never going to forget the first house they bought. They're never going to forget the 10th house they bought. You're never going to forget those moments. And we're creating an experience. And it's either going to be a bad one or it's going to be a great one. And we're trying to do everything we can to create these awesome experiences for our buyers.
Yep, and salute out to Brian and Tracy. I was at a closing yesterday with them. Congratulations on your first new house. Call Capital Mortgage Fund if you want some home ownership. We'll make it easy enough for you. That's 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We got a quick break here, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. All righty, welcome back to the show, 9:30. It's a Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm Harvey Freed, Becky Alley, the great Becky Alley, top 1% of all originators
Present.
in the United States. And she could do your loan right over the border. Again, it's not like the Ukraine-Russian thing going on. This is a friendly border over there, Michigan, Ohio. Wasn't at one time. But yes, we are finding that some families are just slipping over the border there because you guys do a ton of business in the downriver area. And there's a lot of families that do work in Ohio, or they live in Ohio and they work in Michigan. And there's that opportunity there. So yes, give us a call if you're just listening in the southern Michigan area or anywhere in the state or anywhere in the country. Of course, Becky, I specialize in Florida and Michigan, and that's my thing. I'm not an expert everywhere, but there are some people, I guess, that are.
Like myself.
Okay, he's an expert everywhere.
So, like, if you're looking, whether you were trying to buy in Michigan, Ohio, Florida, Colorado, I mean, I'm personally licensed in multiple states. A lot of us are at Capital Mortgage Funding. We are a national lender, meaning that we can lend in all 50 states. But we're big enough to reach everywhere, but we're small enough to where I can literally meet you at my office, at your office, wherever you want, and sit across from you and shake your hand. And that's something that I really pride our office on, myself on, Harvey on, where if you want to look at me, you're going to look at me. If you want to text with me, we're going to text. If you want to call, email, whatever form of communication works best for you, because everything is 5 minutes ago, right? We're in a life where you need to find time. And so our job is to make people find time for these personal things that they're doing. But me trying to find personal time, forget it. I'll ignore my mother's call, but I'm going to answer my buyer's call, right? And then I'm following up with my mom around 9:30 at night when I'm driving home from the office. I mean, but that's the things that we have to do in this competitive market, and it all starts with a decision, right? I feel like we're one decision away from changing our lives every day, right? We preach on that. Yeah, I love it. That. It's so true. And it starts with a conversation. So a buyer, you have to make a choice. I no longer want to pay rent. It's up 12% since last year. It's no longer a viable solution for you to continue to pay someone else's rent. And as you know, Corey, these investors are still gobbling up all this real estate that they can with these cash offers, right? So it's also making it harder for buyers to compete. So in these moments when a buyer's reaching out to you for the first time and they're like, I made the decision, I no longer want to rent, what are the first things that you're saying to them? I want to hear both of your kind of perspectives. Yeah,
absolutely. So I love the point that you made on rent going up, and, home ownership can help with that. And, we can help you get there. I like to start out every single time I work with a new buyer, explaining the process as much as you do at first. We obviously explain it as we go, but also market conditions and setting expectations, making sure that people do understand where home values are at. A lot of times people might talk with a friend or a family member or somebody at work, and maybe they bought their house in 2010. Things have changed. And it is important to listen to your real estate agent and make sure that you take their advice and you're listening to what they're saying, because we do this every day. The information that we share is to help you. We're not saying things just to say them. We're trying to help you understand what's going on and help you get the keys to your new home and stop paying rent and, own something. So really explaining some of the process, but also market conditions, and trying to help you set your own expectations, for your first home or your second home, because values have changed and, interest rates are changing, and that does really, affect what home you're going to be purchasing.
For sure.
So just like Corey was saying, it is imperative to have those conversations right up front, but you also can't give them too much in the beginning, right? You can't discourage them. So you have to give them a little bit at a time. So as I'm training my new agents and Corey's training his new agents, I'm realizing that it's automatic. I'm setting them up every showing. Every showing, I'm giving them a little bit more information, a little bit more, and making sure that they're following along, because it is a lot to take in right away, right up front. That you're going to have to put your best foot forward. And I'm going to ask you for that offer while we're at the house. You don't have time to sleep on it. You sleep on it, you're not sleeping in it, right?
Yep. Yes, that's an excellent point, because, like when we're pre-approving, and I know Harvey has these conversations too, like I let them know one of the conversations we're having is we need to make sure that you're ready to pull that trigger as soon as you walk in that door, right? You got to be prepared to come in on the high side if you need to, and you're comfortable with it, right? We need to know what you're most comfortable with, right? So what can a buyer do right now to stand out in this market?
In this market, have a great lender, have a great agent, and listen to everything your agent tells you to do, and your lender, obviously. Make sure that you're hearing everything that they're saying. And for me, I'm reaching out to that. First of all, I know what the value is. on this property before I even show it to you, right? So if your agent doesn't know what the value of this house is, you've got a problem first and foremost. And then how high could it possibly go, right? So we don't know what it's going to appraise for exactly, but we can get a pretty good idea of where that ballpark is going to fall. So we need to know it could appraise between here and here. And are you prepared to make that decision today, right now, on the spot? So, and then of course, listening to your lender, making sure that you have those verified funds, like we talked about earlier. Do you have the money for an appraisal guarantee and your closing costs? Right. Because people don't really realize that. And so if we're not asking those questions, they're not really getting it. So
to that point, I want to kick it to Corey. So what, kind of explain an appraisal guarantee, right? So she's saying, I know what that house is most likely going to appraise for, right? You know what your buyer is going to offer, right? But then you also know it could get a little bit muddy really quick with people just slinging money, right? I can't compete with someone that wants to pay $80,000 over. You can have it, right? I'm one of those buyers, let's just say. So what is an appraisal guarantee, and how, do you know right away how high you think you got to take it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like how Lisa said she knows what the home's value is before walking in the door. There's ways to find that out, do a market analysis on the home. But an appraisal guarantee is extremely important in today's market to be competitive because essentially, let's say a house is listed at $200,000. That doesn't mean that's a starting point. That doesn't mean the house is going to sell for only $200,000. So you can offer whatever you want on a house, but it doesn't mean much if you're not backing it up. So if a house is listed at $200,000 and it goes upwards of $230,000, well, what happens if the appraisal comes in at $205,000? You offered $230,000, and unless the seller is willing to take that lesser value, which in this market most of the time they are not. Then you have to be willing to fill part of the gap or all of the gap to get that home, or the seller will move on to the next buyer. So an appraisal gap is essentially willing to bring additional funds or cash to closing up and above the appraised value. So the value of a home is what a buyer is willing to pay for it, not necessarily just what it appraises for. That's for the bank's purposes.
That's perfectly said.
That's a great explanation of the gap of the purchase price and the appraised value. It's a really good explanation. You can put other language in there too. You can write whatever you want, additional comments. You can write, I'm willing to pay $230,000 or $10,000 over above the appraised value. And then that way, if it came in your example, $205,000, now we're to $215,000 purchase price. It's almost like the seller said, you know what? I'm still getting $10,000 over. I love this family. I'm going to get them into the house. I'm going to accept that offer and move forward. So, yeah, having that all written out with the great agents is really key. Lots of great things said in that. And Corey, I love the way you talk. You reaffirm things when you're speaking to somebody, and that's so important. I talk quick, and I think I always learn from people, and I keep bragging about you, but you listen to people. So I know that both of you guys are great listeners, which is very important. I act like I'm not listening. Believe me, I'm not missing anything here. But lots of good information there. Hey, you want to join the show? 248-539-9797. We do take your calls live here in the studio. It's 97.1 The Ticket. We got sports following up all day with you. Of course, Pistons and then the Red Wings this afternoon got a game live here on 97.1 The Ticket. Michigan basketball will be on a little bit later on our sister station, 9:50 a.m. So keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We are going to get your man cave or woman she shed all hooked up with big screen TVs and all that fun stuff, Becky Elliott, as we make home ownership a lot of fun. Let me throw in a couple things, guys, on the bad side. Mortgage rates are at a 3-year high. Okay, home values are at 3-year highs too, because home values just keep going through the roof. And if we could stress one thing, Becky, you said it earlier, rents up 12%. Let's make you a homeowner.
Yeah, why are you going to continue? If you are so inclined to do so, why would you not want to invest in yourself versus somebody else, right? Why continue to make someone else's mortgage payment and give them equity when you can start investing in yourself, right? A lot of people think they don't qualify for a home when they really do. And it starts with that conversation. Whether you're thinking about buying a year from now or 6 months from now, you cannot start the conversation soon enough, because that gives us the moments that we need to identify any potential issues that you might have. Maybe you have a 680 credit score, and getting you up to a 700 could be as simple as you paying a $500 credit card, and now your interest rate's going to be better. Those are the things that we're looking for, and the sooner you give us the ability to look at it and assess your situation, the better you're going to be. People often follow these free credit apps, right? I want to stress again, those apps are not accurate. Okay. The only way you're going to get a real accurate credit score and what a lender is going to use is by speaking to a lender. So whether it's Capital Mortgage or whomever else that you choose, make sure they're reputable, make sure you feel comfortable with them, and make sure they're giving you the right information. And they're also looking at the credit to see if there's anything that you can do, because it's an algorithm that is always changing, right? You're never going to figure out credit. Credit's like the Wizard of Oz, like it's a mystical creature, but we can figure it out, and it is changing all the time, and we do have to change how we're analyzing someone's credit. So those things are important in having these conversations ahead of time. And we're here to, and even if you own your house, right? Like you said, the She Shed, you own the house. Let's make it your own, right? You can now get in there, you can paint it. You don't got to worry about the people river dancing on the ceiling anymore.
Yeah, you definitely can make your own decisions up and get a piece of this American wealth, which is home ownership. That's never changed. When I got in the industry, they said it's the American dream.
So awesome. I love being a part of it.
All right, we got tons to share with you. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We've got tax season coming up. That's right, April 15th, just around the corner. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about self-employed borrowers. Get your tax returns done and keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back. We are back, the show that's got lots of energy, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We are powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That makes us one of the top 10 lenders in the country. We're top 5 in FHA, VA, USDA. If you need a mortgage, you need a close, call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage bank. That's 1-800-569-7283. Right in your own backyard, Becky. It's easy to work with us. It's so different. I check out what's going on out there. I call my buddies at some of these other lenders. Not always the best situation for families out there, but so deal with people you really like to deal with. Becky, if we don't offer the best deal, we still wish you good luck.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even if someone is, people are shopping all the time. They're rate shop happy, right? Because they clicked on the internet and they saw 3% that doesn't even exist. And then all that other stuff. There's a lot of noise out there, right? So you have to sift through it, and you need to, we talk about it, align yourself with the right people. And if you're going around looking for someone to tell you what you want to hear, you're going to find that person for sure, right? But then that's not going to equate to you finding a home quickly, right? So if someone is out there and they bring me a quote, I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, this is real. Good for you. I'll shake your hand. But if something were to fall apart, I'm going to be here for you. But a lot of the times when I'm looking at a competitor's quote or they're just asking me for my honest opinion, there's closing costs attached to it that they had no idea even existed. So I'll often spend some time, say, here's this is what we're doing, this is what the other person's doing, and I'll point out some things. And if they have already a relationship with that person and they choose to pay more money, that's their prerogative. But it's my job to educate whether someone wants to use us or not. I'm not here to persuade. I'm here to just really give you the facts, the information, and ultimately it's going to be your decision.
We love throwing those pre-approved strong buyers to Lisa LaRue at eXp Realty and Corey Welch at eXp Realty and all our real estate partners. That's what makes it fun, is when we can reach out to them and say, hey, I got this great family or this great individual, and they're ready to go. And those are truly the best times. Our industry is a lot of really hang-ups on stuff. We were waiting for that appraisal to come in and the inspection, and it could get a little ugly. So it's really nice when things go fast and friendly and the house appraises out and the inspection goes good. But Corey and guys, come on, Lise, that's all the good stuff out there. We live in Michigan. Today's a rainy day. Sometimes there's going to be a problem. Someone's finally going to buy the house and there's a well and septic report, and all of a sudden we got some issues there, and there's some questionable mold and attics and things like that. So it's really that nice demeanor that you guys bring to the table. But these are the things we're still finding. So give us a little bit about how, when things come up, like what happens at that point?
Yeah, so I have one right now that we ended up finding asbestos in the attic and mold in the attic. So luckily, I was working with a great real estate agent on the listing side. I had the buyer, and we were able to work through the process. And now my buyer is getting a brand new roof and a brand new insulation in his attic. And when the appraisal came back, he's also got equity now. So those things are still happening. You just have to keep looking and stay steady, stay strong, stay on point.
So to that point, right? What do you say? So now that happened. It was an easy transition because there was professionals involved, right? You have all these things, whether you're going to FHA or conventional. Mold is always going to be an issue. They're going to, because that's a health and safety. You don't want your person buying a house with mold and not do something about it. So what do you do what do you say to, I don't need a real estate agent. I don't want to work with someone that, I don't want to pay the commission, right? What does it cost a buyer to have an agent represent them, Corey?
Nothing. So, that's such a good point, because we do hear that a lot of times when you're thinking of buying or selling a home. Oh, I don't need a realtor, but it's a profession, right? So if you're hurt, you're going to go to the doctor. If you need legal advice, you're going to go to an attorney. If you need a loan, you're going to go to a lender. So if you want to buy or sell a house, you should go to a professional, full-time, licensed, experienced real estate agent. And as long as you have a great realtor, you won't be disappointed. And it is well worth paying the commission. If you're a seller, we're going to net you more money at the end of the day and take care of the entire process. And as a buyer, you don't pay the commission. So that's why I think NAR stat, or the National Association of Realtors, I think it's 94% of buyers have a real estate agent. Yes. And so that's another benefit to a seller, is we're bringing you our qualified buyers.
Yeah, there's still a lot of, my cousin, my uncle knows a better way and this and that. But the truth is, people who are doing this every day, they know exactly what's best for people. All right, we're going to sneak this in real quick because tax season's coming up. And again, sorry to say that everyone's been making their riches here in real estate. These real estate agents, they get 1099. They better put some money away if they want to use that income to buy a house. Becky, so self-employed people, again, it's not what they make. They all make tons of money, right? They're all doing great. They all want to share those experiences, but it's what you show in taxes, what you pay the government taxes. So if the government's tax rate, let's just say, is 33%, and you made $100,000, that means that you pay the government $33,000 in taxes. Becky, the problem is self-employed families are either not getting their taxes done or they just write off all their income, and now they don't qualify for a mortgage.
Yeah. So if you're self-employed, you have to show money on paper, right? So you can write off all $200,000 of your income, and good for you. But that doesn't mean that when you're coming to me to buy a house that I'm going to be able to do anything for you. We're going to have those conversations. I'm actually coincidentally dealing with someone right now. 2020 wasn't kind to them. They made a little bit in 2021. They're now doing or 2020, yeah. So they're doing their 2021 taxes. And I said, look, I don't know what you guys are claiming, but you need to show profit this year. I don't know if you guys are able to do that, but if you're trying to buy at this $200,000 price point, you need to talk to your CPA and see if something like that's realistic, because writing off everything because you can or you want to or you need to, we don't know. I'm not a tax advisor, but we're going to look at your situation and just tell you, like, you have to show that money on paper, and you got to make sure that if you owe the IRS that you're setting up a payment plan, because you need to make sure that if you owe money to the IRS, we have to document that you have paid them.
If you just started a business, again, you need to typically have 2 years. So the most underwriters, but there are situations where we can get someone approved with 1 year self-employed tax returns in a small business. We see that quite a bit. Again, get in front of those CPAs, and better yet, get in front of a qualified lender. If you're buying a house and you're self-employed, we might need to tell you, look, you better show X amount of income. Your CPA's job, you're hiring them to pay no income tax. We're telling you, if you do that, you got some trouble nowadays. They don't have those stated income programs like they did way back in the 90s.
Ew, yeah.
And really, they went away in the 2000s. So
thank gosh.
now we do have some of those. Actually, I shouldn't say we don't, because we do have those, but those aren't the daily programs that we deal with. So a little bit higher interest rate. There might be an opportunity, Becky, on one of our niche programs, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, the days of I make $1 million because I have an 800 credit score and I'm going to state that, and I don't want anything to do with that, me personally. I want to make sure that I'm putting out great loans with qualified buyers. They're going to make sure that they are making these mortgage payments on time, and it's giving them equity in their, then they can even pass it down to their children, perhaps. You don't know what's going to happen in someone's life. So again, the fact that we get to be a part of these moments, but it's all about that moment only happens when you start the conversation, and you need to be with people that are going to guide you, like Lisa and like Corey.
That's a great point, Becky. And I also found that when buyers come to me and I said, where did you get this approval? Oh, I just went online and and they think it's a really valid approval. And I just have to hit them hard and tell them, like, I'm sorry, you need to get with my preferred lender, send them over to Becky and get a real approval. You're never going to get an offer accepted with this approval. So that's a really good point.
Well, because what's happening is they're not getting truly pre-approved. It's a pre-qualified, right? Mm-hmm. But it says pre-approval. It looks great. It's got gold lace, on the piece of paper that they gave it to you on. So that's why when you're working with these agents, right, they can smell it. They know that this is in a real piece of paper that is worth anything that it was written on. And that's why you might be struggling out there getting these offers accepted, because no one's taken the time to really kind of reset you with what you really need to be doing in this market.
All righty, make sure you get those inspections done. Again, we're coming into the spring season, and we already moved the calendar. Actually, the clocks were moved forward last week. And again,
I missed that hour of sleep. I'm not going to lie.
I didn't do the reminder, though. So that's always the annual reminder. We were supposed to change the batteries in the smoke detectors. And it's really when the due diligence starts on your spring cleanup at your house. If you're thinking about putting your house on the market, guys, start now. Maybe get the mulch out there a little bit sooner than later. I think I got that natural way coming out any day now. And that'll start getting the grass greener. So again, the houses and everything around here start getting a little bit prettier. We're sort of in that rain. Look at outside. What happened?
It's a good day to see houses when it's rainy, I think. And then you find out if there's any issions.
How can we say it's a good day when it's cloudy or it's sunny?
Listen, real estate's always a good day.
Right, hey, you guys, coming up towards the end of the show, just give us a little recap again, where we can reach you. I would want to use you guys. Go ahead and give us your 1 minute there on each of that.
I'll go first. Oh, you go first, Lisa.
Okay, sure. So Lisa LaRue and I am the broker at the Gruziel EXP office, mentor trainer, loving what I'm doing now for new agents and bringing them in and making them shine. It's such a passion for me. I was planning to be a school teacher, so this is just everything I love, right? I'm passionate about real estate. I'm passionate about teaching, so I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And of course, Becky and I talked about this all the time about putting that first time home buyer into a house and how amazing it feels in your heart to just watch them light up when they get those keys, and congratulations, here you go, and away they go. And then to have them call you back later, a couple years down the road, have equity in their house and ready to move up. Such a pleasure watching their little families grow.
Well, like how you handle your clients, so it shows, right? And to anyone that's like listening, if you don't know Lisa, you need to get to know Lisa because she's amazing and everything that she says is genuine. And you really are all of the things that you portray even right now. You're amazing. Corey, I think you got something going on.
In real quick.
Okay, yes. Corey Welch, associate broker of the eXp Realty office in Monroe and team leader of the Corey Welch real estate team. I just want to give a shout out to my friend Lisa LaRue here on the show with me, who has been my mentor for years. I love what I do. I love helping buyers and sellers and achieve their home ownership goals. And last shout out to Jim and Pamela Perch coming back home to Monroe County to be with their kids and grandkids. We closed yesterday after a long search.
That. There you go. You snuck that one in too. All
He's
right.
got his grand opening of his office. He's being modest.
Yes, grand opening next Saturday, March 26, 11:30 to 1. We have local businesses catering, doing free giveaways. Everybody is welcome. We hope that you can join us 11:30 to 1, 760 South Monroe Street.
You guys are awesome. Lisa LaRue, Corey Welch, eXp Realty. She's Becky Ellie. I'm Harvey Freed. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you next Saturday.